Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SteelSeries Southeast Asian Cup Season 3, brought to you by Dota Talk. We are starting off with Titan versus Joe Elite Team, Game 2 of this Best of 3 series. Later on we'll have another Best of 3, but this one, still underway, has been quite exciting in my opinion. There was one incredible teamfight clash. Elder Titan on Earthshaker action, splitting the Earth one way or another, but my oh my. Did they do it in style? This has just been a really cool series to watch. Even if most people think it's one-sided, I definitely think still the interactions between the teams, the whole rivalry between the Indonesians and the Malaysians, it's all fun. It's all in good fun. So, enjoying it so far. We are seeing quite a different draft coming out to start things off. Titan, now that they have the first pick at their disposal, are banning out heroes like Elder Titan and OD instead. And now we're seeing JET take out the Timbersaw and presumably the Lich, but who knows? Maybe Titan will actually get that in their hands. Though, I mean, really, Titan, no matter what supports you give them, you're going to have issues. Generally speaking, I believe that Titan picks up their carries a lot earlier than most teams would in the draft because they're so confident in their support players. X and Net have done such great work and have such great flexible lineups. We see them on heroes like the Naga Siren, the Visage. They're incredible with those. We've also seen X on the Wisp previously plenty of times. We've also seen heroes like the Crystal Maiden Earthshaker as such last time. So I really feel that Titan, I mean, they definitely can pick up cool supports like the Lich and the Rubik and stuff early when they feel it's opportune, but they don't have to draft in that style. And they do pick up the Lich in the end because free experience. That's sacrifice for you. It's funny the dynamic of what actually what it looks like when a sacrifice happens. When you actually call your teammates over to get experience, everybody looks at the creep as if you're actually performing this little ritual. Obviously, it's just silly, but if they added a badass animation to that, I don't even know. I think it'd be cool. Anyways, bottom line is Lich infuses your team with experience, denies it from the opposition as long as you position the timing appropriately, and that means that you can do a lot more with your team. You can have a Night Stalker move towards almost level 6 by that 4-minute nighttime, and yeah, then darkness falls. It gets very dangerous for your opposition. But we'll see. For right now, Lich is in a great position to just go on the safe lane to start and then roam about as needed. A great pickup on him is the Tranquil Boots, and just he has so much movement speed to start off. So, great position for him to be in, and great first pick. JET has to answer back. A lot of times I see aggressive tri-lanes respond to the Lich and try to deal with it that way because he doesn't really have much at level 1 or 2 and is only just getting to a viability in the lane as far as level 3. So that might be appropriate if they get a tower dive oriented lineup with something like an Undying. But so far that hasn't been JET's style. They're pretty clear cut in what they like to run as far as I know. We'll have to see if they have any curveballs to throw at us here. 50 seconds, chewing through the bonus time. And actually, that's frozen on my screen. Okay, 41 now. Does it not tick down, or is there some weird Dota bug? I guess it doesn't matter too much either way. Clockwork and Crystal Maiden are going to be the first picks coming out of JET. A great synergy between these heroes is that they can just completely lock people down in position. If you get a good cogs or hookshot into double cogs, you can freezing field to your heart's content and get a huge amount of damage output on top of them. Along with that, they are very good at just singling out an individual, and even if they have the ice armor, you can't really kite them. You can't really run away because Clockwork will stay on you. With that battery assault with those cogs, there's really no running. On top of that, it really is the way to start fights off on your terms. It's that long range of initiation. You can land a hook shot, you can set a fight up. And so that's going to be really the important thing is when JET starts making their moves at level 6. When Clockwork hits 6, where's he going to be, who's he going to be hooking, and who's he going to be setting back? And presumably that's going to be pressure put on Ohio. That's something that they failed to do last time around. They failed to do anything to Ohio other than a couple of Astral Spirits heading his way, and that really limited them in how much they could deal with him in the later stages. He was too tanky. He had too much damage, and essentially he was a one-man army that they couldn't deal with. Now Titan drafts up the Lifestealer. Used to be hard countered by the Clockwork, but since the cogs no longer knock back through rage, it's kind of up in the air. Either way, Clockwork is a great hero to cage the beast, but Lifestealer's rage is a great mechanic to dispel frostbite, since you can do it after the fact. So, unless Crystal Maiden starts moving in towards that Midas sheepstick role, I think Lifestealer will be able to manage against her very effectively, and from there he can deal a huge amount of damage to any target he chooses.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
So now we're going to see the responses. We do have, of course, the Windrunner ban taken out, so they don't have to worry about... I was going to mention KOXY again, but I think we should probably let that whole meme die. I mean, it is a pretty big loss. So just as an emotional thing in that circumstance, in that environment, and obviously I'm sure he's heard it enough, so I'll be the one to take that first step and try to not mention KYXY Aegis Denies anymore. Anyways, we of course saw Ice play a great Windrunner last round. That's going to be taken off the board. In turn, the Naga Siren, the Earthshaker have been taken out, and those are great supports that have good mechanics to deal with the Lifestealer. The Fissure block, it just is an area denial that Lifestealer won't be able to pass over, and then of course the Naga Siren has the Ensnare itself. So good, very direct counter picks that they don't want to have to worry about. Along with that, we already saw plays from the Dire Earthshaker with a Crystal Maiden Arcane Aura, and that's just block, 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 so that they can screw over the experience and gold momentum for that safe lane.
Dire team pick.
Puck will be taken off the board. Not exactly sure. I guess they're going for solo bans and just trying to make sure, since there is already a support and carry combo picked up, that they don't have to worry about KYXY going with the specific core in the mid lane. OD is with OD off the board. A Puck and a Queen of Pain are both very viable pickups, and that's just Puck is the one that they didn't want to have to deal with, because honestly, a Blink Waning Rift can completely change how your fight works. If you have to reposition and you can't because of the Dream Coil, things like that can be very, very difficult for you. So we're going to see the Razor come out. A great pickup for their mid, and a great pickup versus the Lifestealer. If you can get somebody Frostbitten or in Cogs that has a Static Link active on them, that person's going to be a non-factor. They can't do right-click damage. You can like 4-shot them. Razor is just such a great hero in so many ways, and very, very wisely and highly rated in the Eastern scene in general. The Western scene, flavor of the month to him, and then kind of threw him under the bus as just an OD counter pick. But in the Eastern scene, they still very highly value him. They still make sure that he is in high tier of consideration, especially against heroes like Lifestealer. But in turn, we see that pickup of the Queen of Pain. It's not something that we get to see often because of the prevalence of heroes like OD, but here we go, Queen of Pain. A lot of damage output. Chain Frost, Frost Blast, Sonic Wave, Scream of Pain, all great abilities to nuke people down very, very quickly. And although Clockwork can move in towards a mechanism or a pipe at a pretty good timing, I think they need a little bit more than that. They need some direct healing in order to sustain through all this damage. Whether it's just mitigation through like Rubik's Aura, or that is going to be direct healing through a hero like Chen. We'll see. Abaddon, there we go. Direct healing, damage absorption. That's exactly what they needed, and I love to see that pick. We haven't seen Abaddon in the past 2 matches that I've cast whatsoever, but he, even with a couple of nerfs, still has a lot of potential at the battlefield. So, looking forward to see how this pick plays out. It's not great versus Lifestealer, but it doesn't hurt one way or another. Oh my goodness, going with the Darkseer though. You used to see this on Ohio, now probably going to see this on Ice. But either way, this Darkseer is such a great pick for the team. Vacuuming everybody together, it's really hard to disengage from that Chain Frost. You have to have 4 staffs in order to actually get out of that ball of death. And on top of that, it sets up everything for the Queen of Pain. So, great offlaner, survivable, will be able to build the mech or the pipe, where Lich can pick up the other. And then, on top of that, it sets up all their damage output. Can't think of a better pick for them, really. This is exactly what they needed. So it's going to be on the shoulders of Abaddon to keep everybody alive. There's just so much burst, though. I don't exactly see that being a possibility unless Abaddon himself is already pre-casting his shields and things like that. There's not a lot of disables to break through. There's not a lot of stuns to dispel. It's just a hell of a lot of damage. As soon as everybody's vacuumed together, it's going to be rough. So the final pickup here, we do have what would be considered a supportive pickup in the Abaddon, of course in the Crystal Maiden. They have two heroes that can potentially solo. Razor can potentially go in the carry tri-lane. Yeah, they're going to go for another solo pickup. So essentially what they can do here is a Clockwork mid, a Nature's Prophet in the offlane / jungle, and then with Crystal Maiden and Abaddon roaming around a little bit, they can put pressure on the Queen of Pain, and more importantly, set up kills for the Razor. They can also run Nature's Prophet in the safe lane if they want to lane him, and then go for an aggro try. Crystal Maiden, Razor, and Abaddon, which I think is probably one of the more powerful aggro tries. I mean, the big thing here is Razor needs two things: a mobility advantage and survivability. Crystal Maiden and Abaddon each give those two things respectively. You get the Roots or you get the Nova on a target. That's going to guarantee another 2 ticks of your static link. And then on top of that, the Abaddon is going to give you the shield and the heals in order to go for a tower dive. So in that position, I actually think that Crystal Maiden, Razor, Abaddon can easily go to the bottom lane and contest this Lich Lifestealer very directly. So now Titan has to pick up a try versus try hero, just in case. That's what JET is looking for. And I'm assuming it's going to be the Visage. Obviously, we know how great X can be on the Visage, as well as Net, just performing extremely effectively on those heroes. Some of the, I would say, the 2 best Visage players in the Eastern scene, if not the world. So we'll see. For right now, though, they're debating it. Sand King was the ban. Sand King was the ban in that trial lane. I don't really know. I mean, obviously it does a huge amount of AoE damage. I love me some Sand King, but the Venomancer is going to be the pickup here. And that's mostly because they don't have anything like a Surge. They don't have anything to get Razor moving. So I was talking about Razor needing the mobility and the survivability. Venomancer isn't that big of a deal for Big Burst, but he certainly changes the pace of it when it comes down to how fast somebody's running. It's one of the few slows you can cast without having to worry about the unstable current bouncing back at you. And on top of that, it's just really, really limiting for Razor directly. So we see for right now, X is going for a Boots first build on that Venomancer, and that's going to be pretty interesting for kiting things around with Poison Sting and so on and so forth. We'll see how it plays out. But for right now, that means the supportive role falls on the Lich, who is only setting up with tangos for himself. Everything else has been pretty much picked up by him for the team. Yeah, even the Observer Wards were pulled to him by Net himself, so he's going to be playing Ghetto Lich, but beyond that, I think they're in a good position. So let's go over the roster real quick before we get it on. NFR is going to be running on the Razor in a tri-lane aggressively down on bottom lane. Levita is on that Abaddon. There's going to be Resonance of Fate backing them up on the Crystal Maiden. Yoshi this time is on the Clockwork. 2 tangos, rushing a bottle. Only 81 gold away from that bottle. Such an early rush. And then, of course, it's going to be 2D on the offlane with the most ridiculous getup I've seen. Like, what are these cosmetics? At least the face. The Pack of the Woodland Outcast. I have seen that one, but the face itself, the stature of the Woodland Outcast, I have not seen. So that's pretty intense. But anyways, he's going to be up on the safe lane with his ridiculous getup. Going toe-to-toe with, it looks like Net? No. They're going to aggro try. They're dodging. They don't benefit from this aggressive tri-lane very much, but they want to force the rotation out of JET. They want to make JoeNet waste their wards down bottom and then waste a lot of time before their rotation. Crystal Maiden coming back here. We're going to see Venomancer up on the high ground. Kind of just looking for, not necessarily first blood, but a lot of harassment on the Clockwork. And so now there's a signal from his allies. 2D says there are at least some individuals there, and you need to be careful. Lacog's already on cooldown, and this might be an opening for Veno and for Queen of Pain. Going in, he's going to try for something here. The ping comes out. The slow is there, but Gale not going to be in range. Or if it was there, he'd be too far under the tower to make much out of it. Either way, for right now, Queen of Pain has a bit of an advantage on the mid lane. 3 for 2. Clockwork sitting 0 for 0. And already has his bottle as needed. Looks like JET needs a moment, just having some issues with the PC side of things, but we're good to go here. Resonance of Fate is going to be doing a little bit of Jungle Maiden. Should get that Midas timing around like 18,000 minutes, but, you know, for right now it's income that they aren't really doing anything else with. Crystal Maiden has 2 clarities. Ohio's by himself on the lane. So until they get their full rotation, there's not too much for ROF to do. So he's going to actually scout up the Venomancer here. He sees it coming, heads for the hills, does not want to deal with that whatsoever. Even if the Gale doesn't do any damage, it still is quite dangerous if you don't have a TP available. Internet currently just roaming about at level 1. Like, all he is a right-click machine. I kind of feel like he should be babysitting Ohio in lane to continuously sacrifice his own creeps, and more importantly, get some experience to move towards that level 6. Because the level 1 Lich is pretty useless, to be honest. But sacrifice off cooldown, he's now making his moves. It just took him a little bit. And level 1 Veno just continuously roams, while the Crystal Maiden babysits in the mid lane for the moment, now rotating back bottom. But it really doesn't seem like Isis had that many issues down in the bottom lane. Like, he's going toe-to-toe with a Razor. It's not a great lane for him, but he's really... the point of him being down here is just to stack things and just to survive down bottom. It's really not much more than that. And it looks like actually he's just going to go for full jungle darks here. Going for a quick stack and burning everything down with a rank 2 Ion. So not too bad for him. Going to catch up in experience very, very quickly. And put him in a good position for the mid game. Meanwhile, the aggro dual lane just pretty much playing a 2 versus 0. Now we do see Ninja Brava TP in on top of X, but he has a haste rune. Why would you frostbite a haste rune target? I'm not too sure, but trying to get a kill. This must be the best path block in the world if they're going to have any chance at it, and no, not at all. X just zooms out, munches on some tangos, and he'll be back up to snuff in no time at all. So, both of them running bottles at the moment, but KYXY has a ton more stats and already has enough cash for his boots. It's a very, very quick payout, and is not going to even get harassed by the cogs. So, in general, he has just great control of this lane, and in the next minute, he'll most likely be getting that X rune, unless it's covered very effectively by JoeNet supports. So, already running rampant on the mid lane. Ice is just doing whatever he needs to in the jungle to catch up. And Ohio finding his farm. We see him 15 for 7. There's never a game where this guy is completely without farm. And now moving in towards those phase boots very quickly. Now they did get a sentry out. They do scout out Darkseer's shenanigans in the jungle. They're going to try to block that off as much as possible, but only so much you can do. Didn't even bother canceling the salve, to be honest. Like, he just did. He's not very direct in his conversation style. Levita. He's just saying, hey, I know what you're doing, and I'm going to do what I can to prevent it, but not going to get involved when I don't know where Veno is. That's a good mentality to have. We do see the rune spawn looking out for KYXY as he does claim that regen, but before level 6, Clockwork generally doesn't have any rune control against Queen of Pain anyways, so there it is.
Did that hurt?
So it's going to be a very, very passive early game to start things off. Titan generally doesn't ramp up until about 10 to 12 minutes into the game when they really want to start things going. But in the meantime, they're going to do a little bit of pulling here and there. They'll do some farming from different directions, and JoeNet will find some farm on the Razor. I'm curious to see what you rush as a Razor in this current state of the meta. You already got the movement speed from the phase boots, so you could go for a lot of different items. Well, of course he's going to go later on for Aghanims and things like that. But do you rush that, or do you just go for something like a Vitality Booster casually, and Magic Wand, of course, for the ton of spam that you're dealing with from Titan? Not too sure. But for right now, he's got 460 in the bank, and he'll be able to move towards his next big thing. Yasuo is also pretty powerful. I'm just not sure if it gives you the durability against all this magic nuke that you need. So, unfortunately for Clockwork, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to move in towards that mechanism anytime soon. That is going to be as a whole delayed for JoeNet's team. Meanwhile, that's not going to be true at all for the Darkseer, who's already starting off moving in towards Arcane Boots and putting pressure on the bottom lane with double ions. Ohio in such aggressive farming positions. He knows he has a phase, he knows he has the magic immunity, so Frostbite is a worthless spellcast on him. And as a whole, that means that he can just be very, very aggressive in his farming, as long as he has that Quelling Blade against Sprout. Kyosh, ow, bad spot for Kyosh, gonna get picked off here, came right back in. Had the full opportunity to walk away, but wanted a couple CS and instead trades his life away. That ultimate from the Queen of Pain, level 7, it's not like it came too early. Just not what needed to happen for the Clockwork here. So it just kind of feels like JoeNet right now is unraveling a little bit. They had a very, very rough game 1, and now they're really not changing things enough. They're controlling the jungle a little bit here and there. They're causing some grief as best they can, but unless Clockwork makes some big rotations the next couple minutes, it's going to get out of hand pretty quickly for them. Looking for a hook opportunity, but Venom's not really giving them anything at the moment. Do see on top lane, there might be some engagements coming through in just a moment. Open Wound's already popped, Infest available, but didn't feel they had the damage output to actually bring down the Prophet. He does have phase. He is able to, even with the Open Wounds active, still get pretty close to the safe home of his tower. Actually, might go for a hook shot, didn't have the vision. Still not finding here. So they're just zoning Veno out. They're going to go for the tower kill. But a fortification popping off early allows them to continue their pressure up on the top lane. At least for the moment, though. It looks like Leicester is going to have to invest in this Centaur here.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
In the meantime, Razor's the one to get the last hit on the tower. Moving in towards Drums of Endurance. Going to have some nice armor from Bassi. Magic Wand will allow him to actually heal from all this spam that is going to be thrown at him. And then, of course, the movement speed advantage and general just great item that Drum of Endurance is. No matter how many times you nerf it, Ice Frog, it's still fundamentally a very powerful item.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Interesting option for Darkseer to go for the Arcane Boots instead of the Soul Ring. What I like about this is he'll be able to get his ultimate sooner, he'll be able to use it more actively, and on top of that he can build towards both mech and pipe. If you go for just your brown boots, you buy the mechanism, then you have to go arcanes, then you go back for the pipe. Like, you can't do all at once because of the mana costs. Actually, 2D has to be careful. Like, he wants to mana up, but KOXY could easily go in for the kill here. Blink, Scream, and Sonic Wave is all you really need in that situation. But, of course, you have to watch for the Crystal Maiden locking you down under tower. Speaking of towers, Tier 2 being pushed down bottom, NFR doing some work here. Again, armor to the creeps allows them to just keep pushing. Now it looks like Clockwork wants to make something happen over here. KOXY gets scattered out by the rocket. The hook could connect, but I think she'd get out anyways. Just not a potential initiation. Instead, Clockwork heads to go for a different route, maybe towards the mid lane here. 2 points of Plague Wards. Again, these do piercing damage, guys, so this is going to be burning down creep waves very, very quickly, and on top of that, they're applying a little bit of Poison Sting to burn them down. But up on top lane, here's the right click, so Chain Frost will get the kill, but actually whiffing the Sonic Wave. KYXY missing that, and now they're trying to turn this around. Chain Frost still doing work. So much damage. NFR dropping down to 280 and having to salve up. If that Chain Frost wasn't so darn good, that actually might not have been great for Titan, but in the end, they dive into the tower, they get the Prophet kill, and they do throw out a unnecessary Sonic Wave in the end. And the big thing here is the pressure from Venomancer. It gave them a very difficult choice. X made it so it's like, okay, you either defend your tower and don't have one hero to deal with a dive up top, or you go ahead and lose half that tower's HP, because Venomancer can push very, very early. Level 4, level 5. A lot of damage coming on the tower because of that piercing component. So definitely something for them to take into consideration, as they're now kind of dealing with a high pressure lineup from all angles. The Darkseer farming away every little bit of experience he can get will help their team fight in the long run, minus Mud Golems. And along with that, the Venomancer can just push on the side, and that's actually the most useful position he can be in. But they might be looking for a pickoff here. He is kind of vulnerable. A single hook shot connecting would mean the Venomancer's death. So maybe Kyosh will look for that opportunity, but for right now, he's just looking to pull the creep wave back and counter push it a little bit here and there. Looking for the Midas. Gonna be 100 gold away. Should be coming out in the courier in no time at all. And that'll put Prophet in a good position to kind of go into farm mode for a little bit here. If he picks up just one more item, most commonly a Shadow Blade, but I've seen Dezo Necrobook do work as well. He can go for some split pushing shenanigans. I mean, off the bat, the Nature's Call is a really good spell for split pushing, but you generally need one more item to really substantiate that claim, and the Midas is certainly going to be that item if he actually takes it off the... There we go. Okie dokie. But, yeah, he'll be able to claim a nice Troll Warlord, a juicy boost of experience, and we'll watch that go up. 188, jumping over to 485. A nice little boost for him as he wants to move in towards that level 11 ultimate. So NFR looks to be going for a BKB. I could see Sanjin Yasha into Manta Halberd, but it really, against what we're seeing here, it's all magic damage. A BKB rush seems to be the most apt decision to make. In the meantime, X continues to spam these Plague Wards. Even if it gives a little bit of money to Kyosh, it doesn't matter. The fact that he's forced to stay here instead of helping out his allies push on top, it really, really changes how this teamfight's going to break down. Again, the Chain Frost is available. They're trying to scream through these creeps, and without a creep wave to support them, they really can't engage on those that are defending. In the meantime, Ohio continues to farm, has a Midas of his own, Phase Boots active, moving towards most likely an Armlet in the very near future. Now goes in, gets an Iron Shell and an Infest. This is going to be an initiation of a lifetime if they can get it. They see Abaddon, they already have all 2 spells popped, 3 spells popped, and they realize that they can bring him down without having to risk borrowed time. Level 5 Abaddon, easy prey, and they get a quick kill that might net them a tower in the long run. Meanwhile, Kyosh continues to get gold and experience, but doesn't really have much choice in the matter. Somebody has to hold the line. Somebody has to hold this tower here, and this is our Sentinel. This is Kyosh's Clockwork. Anywho, it looks like Queen of Pain's going to be moving towards the BKB as well. I think the most important thing to dispel here, I mean, yes, there's things like Sheep and Orchid, or mostly just Orchid from the Nature's Prophet, but there is also this Frostbite. The Frostbite limits the Queen of Pain substantially because of the fact that she can't blink. So not only can she not maneuver, but she can't use her primary escape mechanism. And actually, we see that here. Go for the hook shot on top of the Frostbite. Can she blink out? Oh, not timing the spells well enough. But going in, the Nature's Prophet going to get a couple of right clicks in. Sprouted, go for one more blink. They see where she is, but they can do nothing about it. And KYXY is out of here. Or is he seriously going to try to man up? That would be ridiculous. Oh my god, he's going in. KYXY Dota going to town, getting the right clicks, getting the kill against what was a 4-man gank. He just says, hey, there's absolutely nothing you can do to me anymore, and I'm going to punish you for it in that position here. And of course, great ward placement from X quite some time before. Well warded indeed, as we can see here. But yeah, the one thing about timing that I was talking about, obviously the Clockwork didn't check what rank Resonance of Fate put into his Frostbite. Generally, like a lot of Crystal Maidens will only have a level 1 Frostbite around this time, but the bottom line is because they were up against the Queen of Pain, ROF decided to put 3 points in it. That's a 2.5 second disable, an extra second on top of that. The hookshot just simply came out too early. That's another volley of auto attacks they missed. That's just damage that they didn't have. So if they had better timed the hookshot and they lucked out on a battery assault interrupting one blink cast animation, I think they have the kill on KYXY. But instead, he lives, he kills, he is moving very rapidly towards that BKB. Now looking for some easy kills here on the top lane. Goes, gets the Abaddon shield and the heal, but it's not enough. Ohio's Armlet just does so much damage, already forcing out the usage of the borrowed time from Abaddon. And although they're in pursuit, I really don't think they can claim anything here. In fact, Ohio says, fuck it, I have an Armlet, you have no ultimate. Going deep, going in, and he's going to be able to get the kill on the Abaddon, but now Net trapped inside the cogs, and although the Chain Frost helps out a little, it's not going to change the situation here. He's trapped in, and he will be mauled down. So that's going to be the first kill on the board for JT, but a quick Armlet Rage TP, and Ohio safe and sound back at home. Meanwhile, pressure down the bottom. KYXY, 200 gold off from that BKB, putting pressure on the tier 1 tower. And this is something you just can't let happen as JET. You can't lose momentum when you're always looking to pick heroes off, because each one of them is getting more and more durable. BKB on Queen of Pain, Armlet on Lifestealer. We'll see maybe a mech or a magic wand from Lich, depending on what Darkseer has. So yes, Darkseer has a mechanism, now going for, guess what, another Midas. And Lich is gonna just build up with Magic Wand and Bracer. Just those 2 items alone will make him so much better in these engagements. And that makes it harder and harder for JET to find easy kills. So they really, really need to find something soon. Otherwise, the game divulges into Rat Dota. 2D, what can he push? And where can he pressure? And that's about it. Let's switch over to a different graph. Last hits have been on for way, way too long. Looking over at the net worth, we see 7,300 on the Lifestealer here. We do see 7,115 on KYXY. Again, that BKB is on its way, well, as soon as the courier gets his ass in gear. But anyways, NFR's not doing too bad, but really, he's a one-man army right now. He goes for his BKB. He will be able to be in a very, very decisive factor in the fights, but I don't feel like he can do it alone. A BKB'd Razor is great, and if Titan underestimates him, they can certainly suffer heavy casualties, but right now, he himself is the only one that's going to be doing too well in the team fights. Abaddon will have an extra 4 or 5 seconds survivability because of the borrowed time, but beyond that, everybody vacuumed in to Chain Frost Sonic Waves and later on Poison Novas. It's just not going to be good for him. Now we do see, I guess since we do have a quick moment before the tower pressure ensues, X is actually going for a pretty interesting build. Not only did he go for Midas, because, you know, it's the Midas era, you know, why not? But on top of that, he's going for maxing Poison Sting and Plague Wards. It means that the Plague Wards will propagate the most amount of damage over time and slowing that they can. And on top of that, he can just rip through Ancients. Actually, the Poison Sting doesn't really factor into that much, but you get the idea. He's going for a pushing and a farming build rather than a teamfight build. And because he knows that with the Midas, more Midas, really? With the Midas, he'll be able to move in towards his ultimate, and his Gale ranks pretty quickly as well. And now we do see the first successful hook shot coming across onto Darkseer. Might be able to make something happen here. A lot of damage with the battery. Saw the mechanism. He just expends everything he has, but it's not going to be enough. He will fall. Meanwhile, the front end, huge damage coming out, incinerating JT. Crystal Maiden already down. 2D dropping, and Ohio just barely getting in range for that last right click on Razor. Razor generally very quick on his feet, but went for a 1 in unstable current build, and that means that Nyx can catch him. And indeed he did there, so that's a 3 for 1 in the end. Yeah, the wall replica wasn't a factor, but Darkseer pretty much just traded his teamfight participation for Clockwork's. Clockwork wasted all his time on Darkseer, and that let Queen of Pain jump in to drop the ultimate, and Lich to clean up pretty easily. They didn't even need the Venomancer here. Like, he's got his 4 staff, he's farming away, he's playing semi-carry Venomancer Dota, so fun times. As far as Midas goes, we have a Midas on Nature's Prophet, a Midas on Crystal Maiden, a Midas on Lifestealer, Lich, Darkseer, Venomancer. Why not add one more to the fray and make it a 5 Midas Dota? I don't know. In this position, the reason that they're doing it is because they can, essentially. Midas, a great item. It condenses the gold so that you don't have to be having a bunch of different people farming at different rates. Of course, it'll pay for itself later on in the future, but it makes your gold... It's essentially paying unreliable gold now to get reliable gold later. And on top of that, you get this great experience boost, which allows you can kind of just put the stimulus package for your team fights. And so we're seeing those be more and more effective as suddenly Venomancer goes from 0 ranks in Poison Nova to 2. So as a whole, Titan is just outclassing JET in every department of farm. 8,000, or actually, well, misread that entirely. That's actually 10,000 gold in favor of Titan. 14,000 experience in favor of Titan. And JET, they're just looking for their mid-tier 1, and they miss a hook shot. They get caught inside the wall. A beautiful vacuum comes out. Borrowed time. Pre-ejaculates there, and now NFR pops his BKB. So much wasted for nothing. They might get this tower, but At what cost, ladies and gentlemen? NFR now going to take a lot of damage from the Queen of Pain. No BKB, does get shielded up. Kyoshi will TP out, but look at that Sonic Wave. So much damage here. Ohio trying to close in, but KYXY is the one to do the damage. Nice Infest, nice Blink, and that's 3 kills for absolutely nothing. And even if you get the tower, even if Razor gets the last hit on that, it's not worth it. They just lost so much there. As soon as they started doing anything, Abaddon matches his R key, wastes borrowed time, and then Razor uses his BKB, which was only 9 seconds, now down to 8, and expired before it could do absolutely anything. So literally they hit 2 buttons, made Titan take a breather for 7 or 8 seconds, get in position, and then just maul them that way anyways. So I don't know. That team fight was, in my opinion, one of the saddest things I ever saw. But they got the tower, guys, and that's what it's about. You push towers, you get access to Ancient, kill Ancient, win game. It's very simple. They have a very, very gradual strategy. One step at a time. That's what they're looking at here. Whew. Orchid going to be coming out on Queen of Pain if she doesn't go for something crazy like a refresher, which I have seen in the past, but I'm going to look towards the Orchid because it's so good against Abaddon. It's pretty much the Abaddon counter. You use him or you Orchid him, and he's not a factor. The only thing he can do in that situation... No, actually, you can't kill Abaddon because of the borrowed time. And, oh, there's that last Midas. 5 Midas, guys. 5 Midas Titan. This is, I think, just for completionist aspects. They're like me. They're like, okay, well, you know, we got 4 out of 5. Let's click that last cookie. So, going for the Midas here. They have all the experience and gold they could ever want. But, yeah, we'll see if JET can do anything. Because right now, we generally consider Midas as, hey, you're securing the late game. Hey, you got 2 Midases. You're going to be easily able to stabilize when it comes down to that 30 to 40 minute mark. You're going to have tons of advantages that way. And right now, they have a 3 Midas advantage. So, 3 times the late game potential, I guess. I don't even know. Looks like Necronomicon Warriors is what we're going to be looking at here. 2D making his way there. We'll see if we actually see mass Necros or just one at a time. The one problem with one at a time Necro, just a single Necro 3, is that Nyx can just invest inside it. You can't dominate, you can't Midas it, but you sure as hell can just nuke it down with a Nyx ultimate. And from there, not really as big of a factor. KYXY, very fearless. Like, he knows that there's at least 2 people here, and probably more since nothing else is on the map, but he just doesn't think that there's anything that can hurt him. He has a BKB, a Blink, and a TP scroll. What more do you want? But it looks like a hookshot might try to connect here. KYXY has vision! He could go for it, but he knows that it's just going to be a quick blink out, but there's very little follow-up. I still would have gone for it because it's some damage, but obviously these pro players know pretty well what they're capable of. Also, there's something very cathartic to landing a good hook. Just like jumping in and saying, you're there, I can be there if I want to be. And it's a self-confidence booster, but of course it does have a 55-second cooldown. A little bit of mana cost, you have to take that into consideration. They're focused on the push. They're focused on the tower. Prize. Whether they want to sacrifice 3+ heroes for it, we'll see right now. A great hook from Kyoj, starting things off, but Force Staff out. There's just going to be a quick mech, and now everything is falling apart. The cogs dispelled, the BKB wasted, only 28 damage, stolen with Static Link, and now they're all grouped up. They're all ready to get hit by all these ultis. Luckily, NFR is able to Delta split away, keep himself up, at a vacuum out from Kyoj, and now Ohio's in the action. Here's KOXY on the front line. Big damage coming out. Looks to go for the ultimate in just a moment, but might not need it. The right clicks is all that is required, and Ohio is on the man chase. Crystal Maiden, you thought you were slow before? Try 100 movement speed. A bash proc, and she is down for the count. Opening up Roshan or a tier 2 push. Right now, Titan just take that fight away, no problem at all, without even wasting the wall of replica. I liked the hookshot intentions, but because Razor couldn't steal much with that link, because his BKB expired before the fight even began again, that really just made it so they didn't really have anything going for them. And I gotta say, that has a lot to do with this item pickup here. The lovely Force Staff, the ultimate support item. X is able to get his ally out of those cogs, and is able to completely change the shape of the battlefield. And with that money, you holla, and you get some dollar. That Midas now fueling the Abyssal Blade. So, not just a bash luck proc, it's going to be a guaranteed bash on anybody that they choose. And right now, the obvious target is the BKB opponent, Razor. Guaranteed lockdown for a very large amount of time, and that's not something he can afford. Now we do see Quick Quelling Blade out of the Sprout. Ohio in a fine position, to be honest. If there was a Clockwork here, it might be a different story. Rage TP wouldn't be as effective, but for right now, he's farming. He feels safe and sound. The Academic Scepter is finished on this Razor, but I want to point out real quick that he's only sitting at level 12. You know why? Because he doesn't have Midas. But beyond that, it's just because he's always been kind of pushing together with the team, 3 or 4 man at a time. That's a big split in experience, and you see that costing him, as all 5 members of JAT, especially the ones without Midases, are lacking on experience per minute. Now, Open Wounds comes out. It will purge the Lifestealer. He won't be able to engage in this fully, but he's just playing games. He has no backup whatsoever. He doesn't feel like he needs it. But like I said, that Clockwork can interrupt the Rage, and he is back at the Secret Shop. So that's not going to happen. He can interrupt the Rage TP, whatever. But yeah, experience per minute looking pretty bleak for JoeNet for the moment. 333 is all they have to show for the Razor. 337 for the Clockwork. And everybody else has fallen quickly by the wayside. I mean, it's not often that you see Nature's Prophet, the farming master, falling so far behind, but because he went for utility pickups, he went for the mech, he went for the necro, he's not able to split push as effectively and as dastardly with that Shadow Blade. And even now, he's in danger. Like, just by TPing down to this bottom lane, if Queen of Pain gets sight of him, KOXY can easily jump in and use that Orchid. Now, as far as the Helmlet Dominator pickup, I'm not sure if KOXY got the memo on the 6.79 Necrobook change, but either way, it does allow him to go into kind of a semi-carry role, which Queen of Pain isn't too bad at, with her 2.5 int gain and her 2.0 agi gain. Meantime, mid lane, damage coming out onto Ice. It looks like he is going to fall. That was a successful hook shot, and once he was pinned in the corner without the Force Staff to help him out, they could Frost and do whatever the heck they wanted. Now KOXY taking a lot of hits here. Might have to pop a BKB. No, just going to blink and find a safe place to scroll on out. Flank to gank coming in.
Dire's top tower
Trying to make something happen here, but looks like nothing's really that easy to bring down in the mid lane. JoeNet now down 1 game in the best of 3 series. Looking to be shut out in this 2-0 if they don't pull something out. 20,000 gold disadvantage. 27,000 experience disadvantage. The late game disadvantage and carry potential. I've seen bigger comebacks in my Dota days, but I just don't feel that they're really at this stage where they can make something like this happen against a team of this caliber. Titan playing methodically, playing carefully. We'll see. Orchid comes out. There's actually a pretty exposed KOXY, but there's no Clockwork to punish. There's really, I mean, if Kyoshi's here, there's really nothing to happen. Like, they have a Lifestealer here. That's all they are really contesting right now. And I'm actually not sure why he's not involved in this fight at all. But anyways, the vacuum, the wall rubbing, the Sonic Wave comes through. BKB, borrowed time is the only thing keeping these two up. And interrupting the TP. A lovely Chain Frost with the magic immunity piercing mini stun on cast. Bringing him down, and Chudy trying to head for the hills. And will not be successful. Frost Blast locks him in place in the grave, and now Kyoshi is being manned up upon the bash. The Abyssal, the right clicks are there, and Clockwork doesn't stand a chance. The demoralization from that loss must be staggering. The GG is possibly seconds, possibly minutes away. Right now, Titan is just in such control of this game, and there's nothing changing that. There is nothing changing that. Aghanim Scepter Venomancer, Shiva's Guard Darkseer. 2 Force Staffs, 1 Orchid, and an Abyssal Blade. Christmas already. I actually haven't heard a first day of Christmas Dota parody. We need one of those. I've heard some great StarCraft 2 ones, so definitely need some Dota. But I guess I'm a couple months early, aren't I? So Roshan falls. The Aegis Immortal goes to Ohio. In a great position to use it sometime within the next 6 minutes. In the interim, some Necrobook Dota coming out. Necro 3 available for the Furion. Possibly working towards... No, it's actually a 4-staff. Interesting pickup there. To be honest, I don't see how a 4-staff really helps Abaddon in this situation, other than helping Clockwork. Like, essentially, a 4-staff is core on Clockwork because you can hookshot a Lifestealer, put a cogs on the Lifesteal, and then 4-staff yourself out. Because apparently he can't afford it himself, Abaddon's doing it for him. Abaddon's going for the 4-staff, and the main intention here is to get Razor in a good position or get Clockwork out of a pit of death that he creates for himself. Hero XY man mode with this lifesteal. He says, screw it, I can take on anybody. Is he going for, I guess, a Lincoln's here? Just to make sure that you... Oh, actually, wow. Pink's coming out. Kiyoshi taking a lot of hits. Still on top of ice. Doesn't matter about the illusion. Might be able to do enough damage. Yes, they do. 2D. And Kiyoshi actually found a pick off on the ice, but here's BOT Veno coming in. Damage. Oh, not going to be enough. They might actually bring down 2D. A couple right clicks here. A lot of damage over time, but Fountain Regen will kick in and... Actually, holy crap, is that too much damage going for the deny? Prophet suicides with his Necronomicon. And Candy flies out for those watching in Dota TV. That's actually a pretty necessary play. Clockwork was going for it too, but... Anyways, that was just... Yeah, that's sheer damage from that Aghanims. I haven't seen Aghanims Veno in a while, and of course it's a great item for him, but you generally don't see him get that farmed. Luckily, when your tendrils can turn everything you touch into money, it works out for you pretty well. So he has almost his level 16 Aghanims ultimate, increasing the damage to 16-second duration, 108 magical damage per second on every target afflicted. Wow! Get a Veil, Sonic Wave, Poison Nova, and the team's dead. Like, of course you need Gale or something else fatal, but that's besides the point. We're even seeing some silly plays from the Maelstrom Lich. Actually, this is, I think, the first kill of the game that I missed, but Lich does fall in the bottom lane here. And, yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. Going for Maelstrom might not be the best durable response to this situation, but sure as hell fun. And now we rack up the miss kills. You know, make up for lost time. Anyways, do you see Clockwork drop down lifesteal to get the last hit on that one? Didn't even have to use his Abyssal Blade there. It's just Clockwork not in the position he needed to be, not with the 4-staff at his aid. What are you trying to TP out for? You're two-shottable, maiden. Oh, 135 gold down the drain. And putting pressure now on the mid-racks. This has kind of gotten into a clowny little game. I don't really think that it's possible to do a serious cast at the massacre that we're witnessing here. But I'll try my best. Ohio not getting leeched up. He doesn't get a single tick from the static link, and now Ohio is on the game. Doesn't get the Abyssal off, though, so Razor, with his 4-staff maneuvering, will actually trap Ohio in the pit. He sold his Quelling Blade, has no tangos. He is stuck here, but he has his Aegis bashing away on 2D. A lot of damage coming out. He will get the kill before the Aegis Immortal pops, and now it's the opening for Queen of Pain to completely obliterate everybody. Nice borrowed time, barely keeping him up here, but still... They're losing things left and right. There's the BKB from KOX2 doing tons of damage. X is singled out inside the cogs. Kyoshi doing enough damage to bring him down, but you can't deal with this Queen of Pain, and the GG is called finally at 35.5 minutes here. Carry Queen of Pain. Too strong. And now he mans up. He says, you don't have borrowed time. I can do whatever I want. And triple kill is the answer that we see here. Very nicely done by Titan. They sweep the series 2-0, and that is a quick little shutout that I think JoeNet are still recovering from. But here it is, the Ancient collapsing, and those that bet with the favorite, your rares are secured. Fun little game though, a lot of cool little plays, a lot of aggression. 5 Midas Dota. You get that advantage, you keep that advantage. Oh, Lifestealer sold his Midas. The scoreboard is ruined. My completionist inside me dies a little. But nevertheless, good game, well played. Titan takes it away. 35.5 minutes. and it is a 26-7 kill-death ratio for Titan. Looking at the scores, we see 10-0-9 Queen of Pain, 7-0-8 Lightstealer. These are the heroes that needed to die. The Clockwork pick was there to guarantee it, and it didn't happen. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit about it why real quick. The big problem, in my opinion, other than obviously Titan being freaking amazing, is that the item buildup was very convoluted. Clockwork was losing his lane hard to the Queen of Pain just from 1 or 2 Venomancer rotations, so he couldn't go for Mechanism as quickly as he'd like. He thrust that onto Nature's Prophet. Nature's Prophet building a Mechanism can't build an Orchid, and no Orchid means the Queen of Pain will be able to survive through any gank you throw at him. There was 2 or 3 different 4-man engagements on KYXY alone, and they didn't have the lockdown. The Frostbite, the Hookshot, it wasn't enough. They needed an Orchid before that BKB. They didn't get one, and KYXY got to do whatever the hell he wanted, which was to carry as good as they get. Like, this is just something they couldn't deal with towards the mid to late game, and it's very, very obvious why. They didn't have the lockdown for him, so they either needed to draft differently or build differently, getting 2D that Orchid as quickly as possible. They did neither of those. They lost, and it's unfortunate, but they just obviously aren't showing that they're up to the task of handling what Titan are bringing. If we see Ice farming in the jungle, Ohio successfully CSing up top, and KOXY winning the mid lane, what more is there to say about it? They're not shutting down a single core hero, they're not finding a chink in Titan's armor, and instead they're just getting blown apart. So, Midases, no Midases, this game was over very, very quickly. And, Titan shows that they reign supreme in this matchup here. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this best of 3 series. Ended a bit prematurely at 2-0 because Titan is just so darn good. Settling, at least for now, the Malaysian versus Indonesian rivalry that I've already seen plenty of in the Twitch chat. But anyways, it's been a pleasure to be able to cast this game for you guys. I myself am Blaze. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the commentary. If you guys want to check me out in the near future, you can always follow the Dota Talk TV 3 live stream on twitch.tv. You can also follow me on twitter.com/blazecasting. If you have any feedback, if you want to give me a shout out, if you want to correct any mistakes I might have made at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. doing a solo cast, then feel free, just tweet at me or PM me on the Twitch account that I just mentioned. So I'll catch you guys in the next game. My next one will be again on Dota Talk TV 3, First Departure versus Myth Trust in about 40 minutes, I believe. And beyond that, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Highly enjoyed this matchup, as one-sided as it may have been, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So, catch you guys later. Again, First Departure Mistrust versus Mistrust in about 40 minutes. I'll leave the stream on, play some tunes, but beyond that, thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys on the next one.